2003 to 2005, you took on the role of producer for the first time on Arrested Development, another show like news radio that was almost loved too late. Like they were too far ahead of their time, and it took audiences a while to catch up. Um,
Yeah.
and Arrested Development is one of my. It's such an amazing show. The writing and the characters is fantastic. Was producing always a part of your plan, or was that something that you had not considered and the opportunity just kind of came up?
You know, well, here's how it works because it's not really producing isn't really different than being a writer. Like the truth is like when a writer goes through the progressions of staff, staff writer, story editor, executive story editor, producer, co-producer, supervising producer, executive producer, you're doing essentially the same thing. You're just a writer. It's just your rank basically. But the idea is that as you climb the ranks of being a writer, you're given more responsibilities that are producer responsibilities. You're in the editing room. You're dealing with some budget stuff. You're dealing with hiring directors and hiring casting it and stuff like that. So it doesn't really happen like instantly. You don't become producer or and then all of a sudden you just like bit by bit. But even as a staff writer, I was being sent to the editing room to help edit, just because it was kind of something I was good at. And then as a showrunner later down the road, I sniffed out the writers that were good at other things like editing or casting or whatever. And I'm like, you go to casting, you go editing or whatever. So it's a natural transition. So it doesn't really change over when you become producer. It's just you get paid a little more, honestly.
That's funny to hear. I wasn't sure if it was kind of similar to, because I know like in the independent film world, the lower independent film world where we're at, when you start getting into the producer credits, the definitions become really loose as far as from film to film what a producer means.
Yeah, it flips in film, because an executive producer in a film is less powerful than a producer, but
Right.
it's flipped in TV. The executive producer is usually the showrunner, and then there's non-writing executive producers whose name is just on there to kind of oversee it and stuff.
It's crazy.
Sure.
Let me ask you this because we're both fans of Arrested Development. Like a lot of characters that people resonated towards to that show. Was there a particular character who you had fun writing for, or oh, I can already see. Yep, there's.
Job was my guy. Like Job, Will Arnett. I was a big and still am a big Magic fan. So when I loved all those characters, but Job, I have two older brothers. One is actually in Jacksonville. Two soldier brothers actually. Job has a lot of both my older brothers in him. Just the kind of swagger and yeah, I loved. That's why like if you look at the credits of the episodes, a lot of the Magic based ones, like Sword of Destiny stuff, are the ones I wrote that they handed to me. I was the guy like the very first time he had to be a magician, pitched Final Countdown as the theme and said let's put him in leather pants and all that kind of stuff because they didn't really know how would he perform, and I'm like this is how it is. He's got to have this cheesy song and dance around with a knife in his mouth and stuff. And I just so I just really felt that vibe of who he was, and that was always the one I had the most fun writing.
That's the trailer.